Hi, I'm Kira. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be picking my July TBR using TBR prompt cards, which I have right here in this basket. The ones I used last month I put back in the box, and then I have all the ones that haven't been pulled yet right here. So we're going to use these. I'm going to put on the screen all of the books I pulled using these cards for my June TBR, and I will let you know my ratings for the ones I did end up reading. I think I did 4, maybe 5 that I pulled out of the 8. So not fantastic, but decent, I would say. I'm gonna try and do better this month, but we shall see what happens. We're just gonna get right into it. I'm going to pull 8 books again because I have 8 slots in my reading journal for my monthly TBR. So we're gonna fill that up with 8 prompts from here. And I'm also sitting on the floor this time so you can actually see some of the TBR books behind me. So we have this full shelf right here, one below it, and one right down there as well, filled with TBR books. I'm gonna give these a quick little shuffle and then we will pull one. I don't really have anything on my radar at the moment. I also don't remember what is releasing this month. Oh, I think the only thing I have on my release radar is Heartstopper Volume 6, but honestly I'm probably not even gonna put that on my TBR because it is a guarantee I will read it, and I will read it in less than 2 hours. It's kind of pointless to put it on my TBR because I know I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna read it in one sitting. So we're gonna pick for book number 1. I'm gonna go right here. Choose an enemies to lovers book. Okay, I think for this I'm gonna go fantasy because that is true. Enemies to lovers. Romance is not always actually enemies, it's more just like rivals to lovers. But do I actually know what is enemies to lovers? Not really. So I guess we're just gonna have to go off of what I can figure out from the back. It literally has enemy in the name. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one because I believe it is enemies to lovers, and it literally says rival families, and it is, I believe, a Romeo and Juliet style retelling. So I'm gonna go with One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. I have never read anything by Olivia Blake. I never read the Atlas 6 or any of her other books, so we're gonna go with this one. I think I'm just gonna start reading for these videos the description and blurbs of the books instead of me trying to explain things because that never ends well. So on one side of the conflict are the Antonova sisters, each one beautiful, cunning, and ruthless, and their mother the elusive supplier of premium toxins known only as Baba Yaga. On the other side, the influential Fedorov brothers serve their father, the crime boss known as Koshchei the Deathless, whose community extortion ventures dominate shadows of magical Manhattan. After 12 years of tenuous coexistence, a change in one family's interests causes a rift in the existing stalemate. When bad blood brings both families to the precipice of disaster, fate intervenes with a chance encounter, and in the aftershocks of a resurrected conflict, everyone must choose a side. As each of the siblings struggles to stake their claim, fraying loyalties threaten to rot each other from the inside out. If that is, the enmity between empires doesn't destroy them first. Do I know if this is actually like a romance in here? No. Should I Google it? Okay, it says it features a romantic element, so I'm gonna go with that and go with that fact that it is gonna be enemies to lovers because it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, so I'm assuming it's one person from each side of the families. For Choose an Enemies to Lovers book, we're gonna go with One for My Enemy. I am pretty excited to read this. I just always forget I have it for some reason. So we're going with this for the first one. Okay, we're gonna shuffle again for book number 2. Choose a fantasy book to read. Oh, actually no, that is totally okay with me because I know what I'm gonna pick, and I was going to read this anyways this month. I'm gonna go with Court and Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas. This is book 2 in the Court, Thorns and Roses series. I read Court and Thorns and Roses in May, so I took a break in June, but now I'm gonna get back to it. Thinking I'm probably gonna do it like every other month unless I get really invested, which I feel like I might in this book because everyone says this is their favorite. Yeah, I feel like everyone knows what this series is, and I feel like I don't really need to explain it. All I think I need to say is the first book is pretty much a Beauty and the Beast retelling. After that, I don't even really know what occurs. Genuinely have no idea, so I don't really want to know. So we're gonna pick this for just my basic fantasy book to read is what the prompt said, so could choose anything, and I'm going with this because I was probably gonna read it anyways. I already have 2 huge books on this TBR, so some romance or thrillers that I'm able to pick with these prompts would be fantastic. Book number 3. Choose a book from your favorite author. There's probably a couple options here. The first thing that came to mind after I just said like a thriller pick would be The Divorce by Freida McFadden, her newest release that I haven't gotten to yet, so that's an option. I could also do Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, which I have on Kindle Unlimited, but that wouldn't be getting something off my physical TBR, and I kind of wait till like the end of summer to read that. That is another option. I could do something that was on my TBR last month that I didn't get to, which is Will Grayson by John Green and David Levy. Leviathan for John Green being a favorite author. Okay, these are all the options of like what I would consider my favorite authors that I have on my shelf currently. We're gonna pick between these two. Logically, I should do this because it was on my TBR last month and I didn't get to it. And I did say also in last month's video I want to get through the few John Green books I haven't read yet before his new one comes out later this year. So logically I should do this, but this is really calling my name. I think I'm gonna fly through both because this is a thriller Freedom McFadden book and I read these in a few days max. And this is YA. So I also fly through John Green's writing and I haven't read something from him since I think the last time I read a John Green book was when I reread Turtles All the Way Down before the movie came out. So it's been a bit. And I literally just read a Frida book 2 weeks ago. Okay, we're gonna go with Will Grayson. Logical mind is winning. The John Green books I have left to read is this one. This is the oldest one published that I have to read. And then I have these two most recent releases, which is, I think they're both nonfiction. I know what the Anthropocene Reviewed is, and that's just a bunch of like short essays that he wrote about different things in the world. And then Everything is Tuberculosis, I think is also nonfiction. I don't know, but his new one coming out, Hollywood Ending, is his first fiction book since Turtles, I think. So yeah, the other two I need to read are nonfiction. That's why I haven't read them, because I don't love reading nonfiction. I prefer fiction, but I want to read his entire backlog. This is the oldest one I have left to read. I've read everything else up until the Anthropocene Reviewed. So the blurb of this one says, one cold night in a most unlikely corner of Chicago, two strangers cross paths. Two teens with the same name, running in two very different circles, suddenly find their lives going in new and unexpected directions, culminating in heroic turns of heart and the most epic musical ever to grace the high school stage. I have started reading this before my junior or senior year of high school for my like silent reading time at the beginning of my English class, but I only got like a few chapters in and I just wasn't in the mood, I think. So I'm hopeful I will like it. I don't know. I think I just need to push through the beginning of it. That is book 3. Shuffle for book 4 first from this side this time. Read a Pulitzer Prize winner or nominee. Do I have any? Okay, we're gonna go to our best friend Google. Pulitzer winners on Goodreads. Okay, fiction and novels. Okay, I have nothing on that Goodreads list. We're just gonna go to the website for Pulitzer. Okay, I really don't think I'm gonna find anything in here. Okay, we're gonna try nominees. Barnes & Noble list. I'm struggling. Guys, I'm trying so hard to find something. And none of these even like look interesting to me to like go get from the library to read it. It's just like all of these are like not my type of book that I enjoy. Okay, I am unfortunately just going to put this like back in the box as a card I'm not going to use because one, I don't have literally any, and looking at that list, like I didn't see something jump out at me that I want to read. So unfortunately, we're not going to do that card. I really tried. I looked at like 5 different lists and I couldn't find anything. Okay, repicking for book number 4. Pick a book based on a true story. Why do I keep getting ones I don't want? Based on a true story, which I'm taking to mean is like fiction that's based on a true story, because if it was nonfiction, then it would be a true story, you know? Again, I don't think I have anything. Okay, again, I'm taking this card out, not pulling that again, because I don't have anything one, and I don't know when I would have one. So, once again, picking for book 4. This side has not done me any good the last couple times, so we're gonna go back to this side. Oh, and I pulled 2. I'm gonna do the front one. Read a book set in Paris. What is with these trying to make me think so much about things? Again, do I even have one? I'm scared to see where this is set. I found one set in France. Okay, I'm refilming this little segment. Initially, I couldn't think of something set in Paris, so I picked something that was set in London, which was like the next closest thing I could think of and find a book for. But as I was looking for a book for another prompt, I found a better book that is actually set in France, so we're gonna go with that. And that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. I've said for years that if I don't read it this next year, I'm getting rid of it, but I just haven't gotten rid of it yet because I do still have an intrigue to read it because everyone loves this book. It scares me, but we're gonna do it because if I don't at least start it now, it's not gonna get done, ever. The blurb says, never pray to the gods that answer after dark. France, 1714. In a moment of desperation, a young woman named Adeline meets a dangerous stranger and makes a terrible mistake. As she realizes the limitations of her Faustian bargain, being able to live forever without being able to be remembered by anyone she sees, Addie chooses to flee her small village as everything she once held dear is torn away. But there are still dreams to be had and a life to live, and she's determined to find excitement and satisfaction in the wide beckoning world, even if she will be doomed to be alone forever. Or not quite alone, as every year on her birthday, the alluring Luke comes to visit, checking to see if she is ready to give up her soul. Their darkly thrilling game stretches through the ages, seeing Addie witness history and fight to regain herself as she crosses oceans and tries on various lives. It will be 300 years before she stumbles into a hidden bookstore and discovers somebody who can remember her name, and suddenly everything changes languages again. We're gonna do that for a book set in Paris. I don't know if it's like actually Paris, but it's France, which is the closest I can get on my bookshelf without reading every single blurb and Googling where everything is set. Book number 5. Read a book that inspired a TV show. Oh, TV show, not movie. This one might be a little more difficult. Oh, I have an idea though. I do have an idea. Let me just quickly go through and see if there's anything. TV show. Okay, I don't have anything on my TBR. Hold on. I have been rereading the Off-Campus series since the show came out. I did The Deal before season 1 came out, and then I did The Mistake a couple weeks ago after the show. So now I'm on to The Score, which is my favorite Dean and Allie's book, and they are season 2. So obviously this inspired the Off-Campus TV series, so it fits the prompt perfectly, and I was needing to reread it anyways. Hockey, college romance, 3rd book in a series, so I'm not gonna say too much, but you all should probably know what Off-Campus is at this point if you're anywhere near the book community, so I don't feel like I need to really explain. This is gonna be book 5, reread. Number 6. Read a book published before you were born. I'm so sorry, I am putting this back in because I think the only one I have is Pride and Prejudice, and that is simply not happening. Simply not happening. Yeah, that's the only one. Okay, I'll do that another time. Not for July. July's my birthday month. If I don't want to read a book, I'm not going to be reading a book during that month. So I've already gone out of my way for some of the other ones to find something. I'm not doing that again. I'm just simply saying no. Okay, book number 6, repick. Choose a book about friendship. Oh my gosh, I've never read the blurb of this. That is unsettling. Okay. This is like the only thing I can really think about. I'm going to pick Matthew Perry's memoir, Friends, Lovers, and Big Terrible Thing, because it quite literally says friends in the titles, and I'm assuming it's going to be his friendships throughout his years. I just read the first sentence of the blurb, and it's like a quotation from him. It says, "Hi, my name is Matthew. Although you may know me by another name, my friends call me Maddie, and I should be dead." That is unsettling that this came out before his death. Anyways, moving on. I initially got this for my dad to read after his passing because my dad wanted to read it. So I got this for him, and I was like, okay, I'll read it anyways. So he did read this last year. So then I took it back from him. So now it's my turn to read it. And I know I said earlier, I was like, nonfiction's not my thing, which is why I haven't read the John Green books, but I do like memoirs of people I actually like and know. I just read RuPaul's memoir last month in May, June. So this is the only other one I have on my physical TBR. So I'm gonna go with this for a book about friendship because I can only assume that's what part of the book is gonna be about, with friends in the title and also being on a TV show called Friends. Okay, book number 7. Book that takes place on a beach. Like, I seriously don't know. Okay, we're gonna find one. I'm determined since I didn't do it last month. Okay, summer books, right? Bridesmaid for Hire. This literally has an ocean on it. Okay, the only ones I could find were both Megan Quinn books, Bridesmaid for Hire or Vacation Wars, but I think I'm gonna go with Vacation Wars. Yet again, another one that was on my TBR from last month that I didn't get to, and it's been on my TBR longer than this one has, and it actually specifically says sandy beaches on the blurb. So let's go over that. Falling in love is no vacation. Prepare for a good time. Tessa is thrilled to spend the weeks before her sister's wedding at their family's favorite vacation spot, Santorini. Sandy beaches, stonewashed houses, attractive men, it's heaven. But Tessa's idea of a girl's trip comes to a screaming halt when her sister thinks it's high time Tessa finds some love herself. Unfortunately, Tessa forgot about the deal she made back in high school. She has to find her soulmate before her sister's wedding, or else. As she dodges suitors and her sister's pranks, Tessa finds an ally in the oh-so-dreamy Miles, her childhood crush who just so happens to work at the resort. But Miles is dealing with some family conflict of his own. He's elated at being reunited with Tessa, but his father's refusal to acknowledge his interest in the family business and relegating him to only grunt work casts a dark cloud. As Tessa and Miles help navigate their way through their family's antics, they begin to realize that their past feelings may have a future, if only they can turn their island fantasies into something real. So we're gonna pick this one for a book that takes place on a beach. And my battery is about to die, so we're gonna take a little break to charge that, and then come back to the last book and do a little recap of everything. Okay, camera should be charged enough now for me to pick the 8th and final book for this video. One last shuffle. Book 8. Read a book based in a foreign country. Okay, so I am in the US, so anything outside there will work, which shouldn't be too hard. Okay, well this works. Remote island off the coast of Ireland. We're gonna go with The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This has been on my TBR for years. I've never read a Lucy Foley book, but this is the one I picked to kind of try because I know she's a very popular thriller author, but I also know that it's a hit or miss for people with her books. So I have had this on my TBR forever to try out a book. Okay, let's read the blurb. It's the wedding of the year, but someone won't survive private. On a remote island off the coast of Ireland, guests gather to celebrate the wedding of Jules Keegan and Will Slater. Will is a rising television star, handsome and charming. Jules is a smart, ambitious magazine publisher. So the sea is a little choppy and the cell service spotty. Their wedding is everything you'd expect of a young power couple. Designer dress, 4-tiered cake, boutique whiskey, vintage champagne. Every detail has been curated to perfection. All that's left to orchestrate is the happiness. But perfection is for plans and people are all too human. It's not long after the cake is cut and the champagne popped that resentments and petty jealousies come out. Worse yet, the latest barometer reading shows the weather has shifted from fair to changeable and dark clouds are looming overhead. Everyone on the island has a secret, everyone has a motive, and someone won't leave this wedding alive. Let's quickly go over these books, hopefully before my battery dies and I don't have to take another charging break. One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake for Choose an Enemies to Lovers book. A Court Miss Fury by Sarah J Maas for Choose a Fantasy book. Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan for Choose a Book from Your Favorite Author. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by B. Schwab for Read a Book Set in Paris. A reread of The Score by L. Kennedy for Read a Book That Inspired a TV Show. Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry for Choose a Book About Friendship. Vacation Wars by Megan Quinn for Read a Book That Takes Place on a Beach. And finally, we have The Guest List by Lucy Foley for Read a Book Based in a Foreign Country. This is the stack I will be primarily picking from in July. I definitely will not read all of these, but they're the ones that are going to be on my radar the most. So I'm going to try and get another at least 4 done off of this list, but other than that, we shall see what happens. And all 8 of these prompts I pulled for the books, and plus the 2 that I pulled and I just simply don't have any books for it on my shelf, and I know I'm not going to find a book to read for them anytime soon. I'm going to put back into the box that the cards came in because we've already used them. And then once we go through all the rest of these cards and use each one at least once, we will pull them all back out and start over. Put these back on the shelf for next month. And thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you again soon.